To me, climate change is the biggest problem that we face today. It's particularly important to me because I think about the next 50 years of my life and what the world will look like. And climate change and the effects of climate change are exponential in nature. And while similar to how COVID-19, it starts slow and then spikes and all of a sudden the world is shut down, we are at the beginning of that for climate.
Climate change is already happening, and we're already seeing so many of the impacts when we turn on the news, when we look at what's happening in our own backyard. But many of the impacts from climate change will be gradual, and we haven't yet seen them. So by planning now, we have time to actually put the infrastructure in place that we need to be able to respond when those big impacts like sea level rise and more extreme coastal flooding happens, 10, 20, 50 years, 100 years in the future.
So that means if the world is to meet the 2-degree change target, let alone 1.5 degrees, the next 10 years are absolutely critical, or it's going to be too late. But rather than despair about this rather harsh conclusion, I think we need to see this as a fantastic leadership opportunity. It's an opportunity for those who want to make a difference and to change the world, and for those people to step up to bat.
Climate change could be very, very bad, and it's likely to be so without changes to the way we interact with the natural world. The good news is that we know what those changes are, and there are likely huge co-benefits to ensuring against them.
In my mind, we have to rise to the occasion. We have to realize this is not just a slight shift into a slightly different, environment where we can keep doing whatever we've been doing for decades and centuries. We are shifting into a qualitatively new place, and we need people who can figure out how to move in that place and how to keep us safe in it.
And our collective values as a human family are going to have to shift so that we not only have a more sustainable world, but a more just world, a more equitable world, a more fulfilling world. And I really believe that climate action is at the heart of all of that.
So I'm more optimistic about the recognition of the challenge and the importance of revealing what the strategy is. But of course, that comes back to what our topic is, which is climate action. And setting the objective is one thing. Developing the strategy to achieve the objective is entirely different matter, and that's what we all need to work together towards.
Some of you may be familiar with the late HISA elder Cecil Paul, who had an analogy about a magic canoe, and I think it's an apt one to share here. And his analogy was that this work that we have to do it's a magic canoe, and there's room for absolutely all of us to be in it, paddling together.
Solving this climate emergency is literally the most wicked problem that humanity has ever faced. And if we are to be leaders, we have to see this not as a technical problem. A technical problem is, where 1 + 1 = 2, but it is truly an adaptive challenge. And I think as Jess has so beautifully reminded us, it's going to require every single one of us in all of our diversities to get into that canoe.
Are our post-secondary institutions today truly pivoting to this moment? I'm not sure, but maybe we can talk about that too. But these next 10 years, they're going to make or break us in the future for our kids. This is it. We're at that crossroads moment again. And we all have to decide what kind of people and what kind of leaders we want to be.
For us, climate change is defined as a must. It isn't an optional thing. We really have to focus on climate action. And a climate lens is needed on every single decision, program, and policy we make. We need to get serious, we need to get specific, and we need to do this fast. Just as we have a whole of university response to COVID-19, we need as well every department and portfolio area working with a climate lens. We also need to increase our capacity as an institution through education, awareness, and agency raising. once you really appreciate the scale and the imminence of the problem we are facing, it becomes clear that we need to do much more than take individual action. We need to work with fellow institutions, post-secondary institutions, but also with all kinds of organizations across society to advance this agenda. These are complex, multifaceted problems which require collaboration.